So let's begin. Great. Okay. So again, my name is Io Fields. I'm the Community Engagement Coordinator here at LGBTQ Senior Housing. And what we're so excited to talk to you all about today is our upcoming community, the Pryde, which is our first affordable LGBTQ welcoming senior housing community here in New England in our first project at LGBTQ Senior Housing. Okay, so to begin with our mission, LGBTQ senior housing aims to facilitate access to welcoming, safe, and affordable housing for LGBTQ older adults. We seek to define on-site housing services and programming that addresses the needs of LGBTQ older adults, and look to support community space to serve people of all ages and walks of life in the greater Boston area. So the need is huge. Typical support for seniors, especially in our community, is different for mainstream seniors, of course. So while many members of the LGBTQ community have strong support networks, our project seeks to provide the support that older adults who may not otherwise be cared for in the ways that traditional mainstream adults have long enjoyed, ensuring not only roofs over their heads, but real connection to each other in the broader community. So our state, to talk about Massachusetts, an estimated 65,000 LGBTQ older adults live in Massachusetts, and in part due to problems related to social isolation and the lasting impact of trauma associated with systemic anti-LGBTQ discrimination. Statistically, when compared to their non-LGBTQ counterparts, our population is significantly more likely to be in fair or poor overall health, have difficulty paying for housing or for food, report ever having been diagnosed with a depressive disorder, or fall and be injured. So the Pryde. Our first housing community will have 74 units and will be made available in the spring of 2024. These units will be studio, 1-bedroom, and 2-bedroom apartments, all of which are pet friendly. Apartments are located on the ground, first, second, and third floors and are all accessible via 2 newly built and installed elevators. Each apartment is renovated from a former classroom, so it has some really wonderful charm and is designed barrier-free. So bathrooms are large enough to accommodate mobility devices. Kitchens are equipped with in-wall ovens in lieu of in-stove ovens for ease of access. Levered door handles and cabinet pulls facilitate use by people with arthritis or folks who are otherwise disabled and have impacted mobility. Also, all doorways will be wide enough for folks using mobility aids as well. So living at the Pryde, what it'll look like. In our intergenerational community center, the Pryde will offer daily activities to engage residents and community members of all ages to promote lifelong learning, art, healthy food options, gatherings, and events. We're looking to host classes and clinics, provide outdoor activities for our building residents, including community gardening, host annual LGBTQ events at Pryde and during holidays. We also want to host things like affinity groups, where people can gather and be in community, whether it's with residents or folks coming from outside of the building. We're located right in the heart of Hyde Park, and the Pryde will also include a large auditorium, which will serve as a gathering space for music, theater, and resident functions, as well as a fitness center with equipment and a sunroom, excuse me. Okay, so at the Pryde, honoring the neighborhood, when LGBTQ senior housing first began our mission in creating the Pryde, our organization asked the neighborhood what they wanted to see in Hyde Park for its first community center, senior center, LGBTQ center. And folks asked that we commemorate the 54th Regiment of Hyde Park. It's actually what the movie Glory was about. It was one of the first African-American infantry units to fight in the Civil War, and it mustered right in Hyde Park with a permanent exhibition space. We'll also be celebrating the Grimke sisters, activists for abolition and women's rights, who led a group of women from Hyde Park to vote 50 years before the 19th Amendment passed via programming. Engage also with local businesses for programming and catering opportunities. Hyde Park has a vibrant community and here. Great. Okay. Yeah. Hyde Park has a vibrant community of small businesses, all local to the Pryde as well, just steps away on Main Street. So our future residents, these are the folks who, especially as I speak to this audience in this presentation, we're hoping you work with. Our outreach efforts are focused on LGBTQ people and their allies so that our applicant pool is saturated with people in our community who need this resource the most. We're looking for LGBTQ people and allies age 62 plus who qualify for affordable housing, are single or live with one other person, do not need services required at assisted living facilities, but want opportunities to enrich their physical and mental health, are looking for connection with other like-minded individuals in their housing community and beyond its walls, and want to reside in a place that they can be their authentic selves. So an important point here is that the Pryde is LGBTQ affirming. It is not LGBTQ exclusive. So along with qualifying for income restricted housing, the only other requirement, one of the only other requirements, I should say, to qualify for this housing is being at least 62 years of age at the time of lease signing. So defining affordable. We are working with the City of Boston's Mayor's Office of Housing, who will administer the Affordable Housing Lottery to award apartments. Units are available for people making 30, 50, 60, 80, and 100% of the area median income of Boston. There are also units set aside for people exiting homelessness. Corresponding rent prices have now been posted. We can absolutely put those in the chat and have been decided again in relation to HUD and the area median income of Boston. So how to apply to the Pryde? How can you refer folks to the Pryde? So our applications are officially open. They're accessible online and also during our in-person application distribution sessions, which we'll post in the chat for folks to attend. We'll also have application workshops, and any in-person event that folks attend and can come to will be fully staffed by folks at LGBTQ Senior Housing who can walk people through their application, whether it's online or in person. We also have many different languages and translation services. So folks who want a copy of their application in their language of choice will be able to access it. And again, we ask folks to stay up to date with LGBTQ Senior Housing's mailing list, just to stay up to date on when we're hosting events and where they'll be. So this is our ask. If you know of, or of course work for an organization that could be interested in helping us spread the word to get to as many LGBTQ seniors and their allies, please let us know. If you or your network is interested in collaborating with our programming, please get in touch with us. And of course, sign up for our email mailing list and follow us on Facebook and Instagram to stay up to date on our event plans, workshops, and project progress. And then here's our contact info. We'll put it in the chat again. I'll stop my screen share now so that we can go to any questions. Wonderful. Okay, great. Does anyone have any questions off the bat? Just taking a look at the chat right now. Wonderful. And people, again, are absolutely welcome to introduce themselves in the chat. Okay, great. Cynthia, go ahead.
Hi, congratulations on almost being there. This is really exciting. This is just a general, just for my understanding. So being LGBTQ is not it's not a I mean, for the lottery, that it can't be a preference or priority. So it really is a question of saturating the applicant pool. Is that correct?
Yes. So, and I can turn it over to Gretchen as well to help me answer this question. But as per the Fair Housing Act, the city of Boston cannot ask someone's sexual orientation or gender identity. And so that's why we do all of this outreach here and why we're asking you all in the community to spread the word as far and wide as possible, because we know our seniors need this resource the most, and we want to be sure that every single senior who wants to apply to the Pryde and who would qualify for the Pryde can get their application in.
And then, but then once people apply, I mean, it's an open lottery then. So you, so this is, you won't know the makeup until such time as people start accepting uh, units. Is that okay? Okay.
That's
Thank
correct. So there is an element that's just completely unpredictable here, but we believe we've done a pretty good job from the very beginning of identifying this building as an opportunity for LGBTQ community and our elders to apply, and that folks who aren't members of our community, we hope that they are folks who would consider themselves allies to our community.
Mhm.
So there's no way with the current laws and policies to do anything differently, but our experience, this is, as we mentioned, this is our first community, but definitely our experience with creating the Pryde has pointed out some severe public policy problems we have to change. And among them, that we need to be able to identify LGBTQ elders as a protected class. And we also need to be able to set AMI for senior housing based on seniors' income, not on general income. They're just a whole bunch of things that don't make sense to us. And so we'll be working with all of you as we go forward as well on the kinds of public policy changes that need to happen to truly create welcoming communities for all.
Thank you.
Thank you for your question, Cynthia. Anyone else? Oh, I see. Yes, we have a question in the chat that Isabel just responded to, but just to reiterate it, we asked providers to come to this meeting this morning to help us spread the word. So any networks that you have that have access to LGBTQ seniors and their allies, our elders in this community, we're really, really looking for folks to spread the word, to tell people that our applications are open until February 22nd, that people can apply both in person or online, and that we have different events going. We're just looking to spread the word as far and wide as possible. And then also open up any conversations that people have later down the line in terms of collaborating for programming. The Pryde will have an intergenerational community center, and we have a lot of big dreams and goals about what that's going to look like, and who we can partner in our community who does work with our elders to help us, bring whatever programming residents and community members want to see.
And just to reiterate what we can help you with, if you have an email list or a newsletter or a website and want to share some information about the Pryde, especially now that the lottery is open, it's only open through February 22nd. So everyone who's interested has to get their application completed either online by that date or postmarked by that date. We would be happy to send you a blurb to put in your newsletter or on your website, so that people know what's going on your social media. Feel free, we're on Instagram, we're also on Facebook and LinkedIn. Feel free to share any of our posts about information there. And our website has a lot of great information as well. So let us know if your outreach includes those sorts of tools, and we'll help you with that. But we're really, really trying to get the word out to every LGBTQ elder who needs this kind of housing, so that they know that we're out there and this is the moment to apply. We know that we're going to get a lot more applications than we have apartments. And we also know that the Pryde is only our first community, so we're committed to continuing this work. But people should apply now if they even think about they might need this housing in a year from now or 2 years from now, because it'll take that long to get through the waiting list. So if anyone who doesn't make it in the first round of apartments that will be awarded through this lottery, will be placed in order on a waiting list as well. So it's worth applying. If you are turning 62 in 6 months, it's worth applying if you think you want to be in the Pryde in 2 years. So so that's the message we're trying to get out to our LGBTQ elders as well. So that's um, and this lottery is open to everyone. You don't have to be a Boston resident. You don't have to be a Massachusetts resident. You do not have to be a US citizen. So none of those things are required. This is a very open process. There is a City of Boston preference that we are trying to still get modified to be able to make sure that our LGBTQ elders who've already been priced out of Boston, who've already had to move, have a shot at coming back if they want to. So we're working on, again, a lot of different public policy pieces of this as we also try to get the word out and get as many members of our community into the lottery as possible. And the lottery application is easy, relatively speaking. So nobody is required to submit any paperwork or proof of income or anything at this moment. All they have to do is complete a few pages of information about who their household is, where they live, their contact information, and estimates of their income and assets. And that's basically it. So it's a relatively straightforward process to get into the lottery. And then if you're selected for an apartment, that's when you'll have to submit all the paperwork to show that you are who you are and your income and assets are what they are as well. So nobody should feel intimidated by just applying to get into the lottery at this point.
Great. And I also saw in the chat that someone asked, can 2 people occupy the 2-bedroom apartments? And the answer is yes. Thank you, Isabel, for answering that. I'll also say, of course, only one application should be submitted per household, but only one person in the household needs to meet the age requirement. So as long as one person in the household is at least 62 years of age upon signing the lease for their apartment at the Pryde, folks in that unit, so long as they meet the income requirements, would qualify. Someone also asked how will the lottery, in the lottery, will applicants be selected? So it's a completely randomized process through the City of Boston. So whether you apply on the first day or you apply on the last, you are put in the same pool as everyone else, or folks that you work with or refer to us would be put in the same pool with everyone else. There's no like hierarchical ranking in terms of when people applied chronologically. Folks' names are just all put in the same pool, assigned numbers, and then selected at random through like the lottery process. And then those people who have been selected then go through, their paperwork, like Gretchen said, in showing their eligibility, their income, whatever assets they may have, etc., to make sure that their household is eligible for the unit. They then tour it. And there's a whole interview process. So I see Samantha has a hand raised. You can go ahead.
Yeah, so I come from currently kind of a little bit of a different field. With a background in case management and housing and all that good community health things. I work for nonprofit hospice and palliative care org. I think I was wondering, my organization specifically has been interested in definitely diversifying and making sure that we're reaching out we're getting all the patients that need and want that care that we can provide, and education about all their options. I think I was curious, like you said, the housing, this housing complex wouldn't be maybe appropriate for people who need assisted living level of care. Kind of what is the idea of like, as people get older, they have more needs. Yeah, I guess I'm wondering kind of like how you all foresee that, going forward and seeing how people can be cared for and ways other organizations might be helpful for that.
What a great question. Thank you so much, Samantha. I'll begin to answer it, and then I imagine Gretchen might take over. But to start, I'll say that the Pryde is not a assisted living facility, which means that we don't have the capacity to provide assisted living aid or care to folks who need it. That being said, if people have care of their own, so whether it's a personal aid or family members who come in and care for them, of course, that's absolutely welcome at the Pryde. When we say that our building isn't an assisted care facility, that means that LGBTQ senior housing, Penrose, our development partners at the Pryde don't have the capacity to provide that kind of care, but anyone who already has access to it, of course, can apply and live there. But in terms of the assistance that the our building itself and the community would provide, would fall under the categorization of like independent. So we wouldn't provide those services, but of course, whether people already have them or as they age, they begin to need them, those services are totally available for folks to bring in independently. Gretchen, do you have anything else to add to that?
Yes, and first, Samantha, thank you for doing this important work. We really appreciate you being here today too. So yeah, just to reiterate everything that Io said, this is senior housing. It's not assisted living or nursing home. However, we really want our residents to be able to age in place. That's and to age healthfully and joyfully and stay as long as they're able to. And we expect some folks will be moving in with already with services set up that would also sort of mimic what assisted living might provide. And some folks might need that over time. So we're going to be working with Penrose Management, the Resident Services Coordinator, to make sure all of our residents have access to services that they qualify for and will need. But it's not provided to all. It's not assisted living, and we would love to include you when we have things like community information programs at the Pryde. And so let's stay in touch, and I'm sure that there are folks in our community that would like to know about what you do. And so let's just stay in touch, and down the road, as once we have our residents moved in and we know how our community center is operating and what our residents want to know about, we look forward to inviting you to come out and meet folks.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I can't
Was that
find
everything
the hand in my on my computer, but I thought I'd just jump in. I'm wondering what kinds of, I work with Friendship Works, and I believe we're partners with you guys, but we haven't really explored what that means, and we would like to do so. We have LGBTQ people that we serve, and we like to publicize that information on our newsletter. So somebody, I think maybe Gretchen offered to send a paragraph to us to use in our newsletter. So that would be great. But what else can we do? How can we partner? How can we serve you, and how can you serve us? I guess is my question. Thank you.
Well, thank you for taking up our invitation to send include us in the newsletter. So we'll follow up with you about that. Thank you very much. Friendship Works is fantastic. So we've always identified you as one of our partners when we have residents. And it's so difficult that this is it's not difficult. It's wonderful, but challenging that this is our first community, and we don't know yet who our residents will be and what they will want to do and need in terms of services and partnerships. So we've had a lot of preliminary conversations with organizations in and around Boston to make sure that everyone knows that the prize is coming and that we'll be working to provide the most fabulous community that we can for our residents, and which Hyde Park gets the spillover effect of being able to take part in our programs and services as well. So I know that we'll be talking with you some more. I think the main we're flat out with the lottery through the February 22nd when the lottery closes, and then we'll be working very closely with Penrose and the City of Boston to interview and get all of our applicants, complete their applications. And then, and at the same time, we're beginning to look more toward programming and services as we get a better sense of our residents. So it's fabulous that you're there. We know that you're there and doing great work, and we will reach out to you as we get closer to opening the building, if that makes sense. Okay. Thank you. And feel free to check in with us anytime. Make sure you're following us on social media so you get updates. Everything that our current schedule is based on what we understand the construction schedule is. Fingers crossed there are no more unknown conditions discovered in the building, as historic renovation is quite an adaptive reuse is quite a challenge. So we stay on our construction schedule, and we really will be able to get this building finished and the certificate of occupancy granted by the City of Boston promptly after that, and then be able to get people signed up and moving in. So that's what we're looking at in the next 4 months, 5 months.
There's also a question in the chat about assets, which I tried to answer. But if Gretchen, you want to speak a little bit about assets just for people who didn't look through the chat.
Thank you. Yes, thank you for highlighting that. So this is income restricted housing. So there are income limits. So you can't earn over, and it's all on the information that we provided on our website and in newsletters as well. But there are no limits on assets, and it's a very affordable housing is a really, really complicated business. And I can tell you that there's a stack of 22 different funding sources to build the Pryde. And that's just the bricks and mortar. We're not even talking about LGBTQ senior housing, which is the nonprofit partner, and the money that we need to raise to operate the community center. So these are sort of two separate missions that we have, but we're joined at the hip and we're doing this work together. So some of the funding sources have slightly different rules so there are apartments connected to particular funding sources. All of that is to say that this is too complicated to explain, and it's very, very individual. So what we are saying is to everyone is, if you are close to the income, do not rule yourself out. If you think you earn too much, still apply, because there are certain ways that things can be deducted from your income so that you might be eligible. There are certain credits that might reduce the rent that you're charged as well. So please tell your LGBTQ seniors to err on the side of getting themselves into the lottery and not to worry about assets. So there's a way that even if you own your home, and it's all that's counted is the income from your assets. So Penrose tells us they have a lot of affordable senior housing communities with landlords living there because they rent out their home that still provides less income and makes them qualify for affordable housing. And only a fraction of assets are counted. And every time we've asked the City of Boston and our Penrose partners about how assets are determined and how they impact someone's eligibility for the housing and apartments that we're providing, we've been told in all of the years that folks have been doing this, there's only one person that has ever been disqualified because of their assets. And I don't know if that was a Powerball winner or who exactly, but our message to you is to please tell our LGBTQ elders and seniors, get into the lottery now. If you're close, if you think your income is changing in a year or two, if you expect to retire, if you even if you haven't started accessing your pension yet, just get yourself into the lottery now. Let us figure out your eligibility and your rent based on your particular circumstances, because this is a very individual determination. So thank you for that question. And Cynthia, thank you for your mention about mass housing, offering this, providing this as well. This information as well.
Any more questions from folks? Again, we'll put our contact information in the chat for anyone who might have missed it. Perfect. Yeah, for anyone who might have missed it. So any questions that come up, whether it's from you or from someone that you work with, absolutely give us a call or send us an email. You're also welcome to continue to check our website. We have FAQs available for people to read through as well. So that we can be as accessible as possible. Any questions that come up after the fact or that you would like to ask just one-on-one, we're available for you all. And we really appreciate you all taking the time this morning to join us for this presentation. And we thank you all again for your work in our community.
And I forgot to, I just want to emphasize before we leave as well that the application is available in multiple languages besides English. So if you have a client or a referral who speaks a different language than English, please let us know and we will make sure they are connected to the application in their language. So I wanted to say that as well. And reach out about anything at all and leave a message if we can't pick up the phone at that moment. We will call you back. And thank you all so much for the work that you do. And thank you, David Reedy from Age Strong, for always being here and all the work that you're doing to help us get the word out as well. You're a terrific friend to this project, and I just wanted to give you a shout out and look forward to meeting you all when we have our community days at the Pryde, and you get a chance to meet our residents as well. So holler and let us know how we can work together and get the word out. So thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Right. Thanks, folks. Have a wonderful rest of your day.